She spent years making me jealous, thinking I would never leave. But the day I married someone else, she showed up at my wedding, and what happened next changed all our lives forever. Stay until the end because this emotional love story has a lesson you'll never forget. I never thought the girl I loved most would become the reason I learned the hardest lesson of my life. Her name was Emily. We met during our first year of college. She had a smile that could brighten an entire room and a personality that attracted everyone around her. The first time we talked, it felt natural, as if we had known each other for years. Within months, we became best friends. At least, that's what she called us. For me, it was much more than friendship. I loved her. Everyone knew it except Emily, or maybe she knew and simply enjoyed pretending she didn't. Whenever I gathered enough courage to get closer to her, she would do something that left me confused. She would flirt with another guy. Not because she liked him. Because she liked seeing my reaction. At first, I told myself I was imagining things. Then it became impossible to ignore. If I spent time with another girl, Emily suddenly became extra affectionate. If I complimented someone else, she'd wrap her arm around mine. If I looked happy without her, she'd find a way to remind me she was still the center of my attention. The moment I focused on her again, she would pull away. It became a painful cycle. My friends warned me. She's playing games, Daniel. But love makes excuses where logic sees red flags. So I stayed. Year after year. Waiting. Hoping. Believing that one day she would realize I was the one who truly loved her. One evening, after nearly 4 years of friendship, I finally confessed. We were sitting beside a lake near campus. The sunset reflected across the water. My heart was beating so hard I could barely breathe. Emily, I said quietly, I've loved you for a long time. She stared at me. For a moment, I thought she might say yes. Instead, she laughed softly. Not cruelly. Just casually. As if I had told a joke. Oh, Daniel. Those 2 words crushed me. I don't want to ruin our friendship. The classic answer. The answer everyone gives when they don't feel the same. I nodded. Pretended it was okay. Pretended my heart wasn't breaking. The next week, she started dating another guy. His name was Ryan. And she made sure I knew everything about him. Every date. Every gift. Every romantic message. She shared it all with me. I smiled through the pain. Because that's what people in love sometimes do. They suffer quietly. Ryan didn't last long. Neither did the guy after him. Or the one after that. Emily went through relationships like seasons. But every time one ended, she came back to me. And every time she returned, my feelings returned too. Years passed. College ended. We entered adulthood. Yet somehow nothing changed. I was still the loyal friend. The backup option. The man she could always count on. One night, after another failed relationship, Emily called me crying. I drove across town to comfort her. For 3 hours I listened as she talked about heartbreak. When she finally stopped crying, she looked at me and smiled. What would I do without you? I wanted to say. You could love me. Instead I said. I'll always be here. Looking back, those words were my biggest mistake. Because when someone knows you'll never leave, they stop appreciating your presence. A few months later, something unexpected happened. I met Sarah. It happened at a bookstore. She was standing on a ladder trying to reach a novel from the top shelf. The book slipped from her hand and landed directly on my head. She looked horrified. I started laughing. Then she started laughing. And somehow we ended up drinking coffee together. Sarah was different. There were no games. No mixed signals. No jealousy. No emotional roller coasters. When she liked me, she said so. When she missed me, she called. When she cared, she showed it. Being with her felt peaceful. For the first time in years, I wasn't chasing someone. I wasn't trying to earn affection. I wasn't proving my worth. I was simply loved. And it felt amazing. Emily noticed the change almost immediately. She began texting more often, calling unexpectedly, finding excuses to meet. One afternoon she asked casually, "So, you and Sarah are serious?" "Yes." Something changed in her expression. For the first time, she looked uncomfortable. "Oh. Just one word." But I understood. The attention she had always counted on was no longer hers. Weeks later, Sarah invited me to meet her family. The evening was wonderful. When I returned home, I found 20 missed calls from Emily. 20. I called back immediately. "What's wrong?" Her voice sounded angry. "Where were you?" I blinked. "With Sarah." There was silence. Then she said something strange. "You've changed." I smiled sadly. "No, Emily." I finally stopped waiting. She hung up. That night I barely slept. Not because I regretted my words. Because I wished I had said them years earlier. Over the next year, Sarah and I grew closer. She became my best friend. My safe place. My future. One winter evening, I proposed. She said yes before I even finished asking. I don't think I've ever been happier. When we announced our engagement online, hundreds of people congratulated us. Emily wasn't one of them. 3 days later, she showed up at my apartment. When I opened the door, I hardly recognized her. She looked exhausted. Sad. Scared. "Can we talk?" I nodded. We sat in silence. Finally she spoke. "Are you really marrying her?" The question surprised me. "Of course." Tears filled her eyes. My heart sank. Because suddenly I understood. She wasn't crying because she loved me. She was crying because she was losing me. There is a difference. A huge difference. Love wants someone to be happy. Possession wants someone to stay available. For years Emily had enjoyed knowing I loved her. She never had to choose me because she assumed I'd always be there. Now I wasn't. And reality hurt. "I thought you'd wait," she whispered. Those words changed everything. Not because they made me angry. Because they revealed the truth. She thought my life would remain frozen until she decided otherwise. She thought I would always be an option. I looked at her gently. I waited long enough. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "So that's it?" I nodded. "That's it." She left without another word. And for the first time since meeting her, I didn't run after her. 6 months later, my wedding day arrived. Family filled the church. Friends laughed together. The atmosphere felt magical. As I stood at the altar, nervous and excited, the doors opened. Guests turned. And there she was. Emily. My heart stopped. She walked inside quietly and sat in the back row. For a moment, old emotions rushed through me. Years of memories. Years of hope. Years of pain. Then I looked at Sarah. Beautiful. Kind. Loving. Everything I had searched for. And suddenly the past lost its power. The ceremony began. When it came time to exchange vows, Sarah looked into my eyes and said, "You are my home." I nearly cried. Because no one had ever chosen me so completely. No games. No doubts. No conditions. Just love. Pure love. When the minister pronounced us husband and wife, applause filled the room. I kissed my bride. And at that moment, I felt truly free. During the reception, I noticed Emily quietly leaving. For a second, our eyes met. She smiled sadly. Then she disappeared. That was the last time I saw her. Years have passed since then. Sarah and I built a beautiful life together. We bought a small house. We adopted a dog. Eventually, we had 2 children. Life wasn't perfect. No marriage is. But it was real. And real love is worth more than any fantasy. Sometimes people ask if I ever think about Emily. The answer is yes. Not because I miss her, but because she taught me something important. Never stay where your love is treated as an option. Never beg for a place in someone's heart. Never spend years proving your worth to someone who already knows it. The right person won't make you compete for affection. They won't keep you waiting forever. They won't play with your emotions. They'll choose you. Clearly. Proudly. Every single day. And when they do, you'll realize something surprising. The greatest love story isn't the one you chase. It's the one that chooses to walk beside you. Forever.